This is Saoirse Pottie, aka Going Pottie.
The Going Pottie comes from my surname is actually Pottie.
Actually Pottie. How was that in school?
That was a really fun experience. So I've embraced it now and I feel like it fits my personality. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I could hear like a thud thud.
Do you talk to yourself?
Sometimes I talk to my bike like it's a thing, but it's not.
Saoirse has been on a mission to bikepack her way around all 32 counties in Ireland, and along the way she's climbing the highest mountains in each county, preferably with a local person. So I met her in County Antrim in Northern Ireland to climb Trostan and ask her a lot of questions about her adventures.
There. Did you do that for the camera?
This is a very long uncut video, so I've added chapter markers if you don't want to watch the entire thing.
In just over a week, I'm going to be going on my first multi-day bikepacking trip, which means I've had the absolute amazing, well-timed fortune of bumping into Saoirse Pottie.
Hello.
AKA Going Pottie. Saoirse is, let's see, get this long list, wildlife biologist.
So you can hear a skylark, and what I say, and that's a male, and they go all the way up and they sing at the top, so their song carries further. Like they're marking their territory, and then in a second he'll shoot straight. They've all got like a unique song that's theirs, or they...
Cyclist, dive master, everyday adventure, and a world record holder, which I'm definitely going to have to ask you about later.
Oh, that makes me sound more than I am.
But in a nutshell, what have you been doing for the last 6 weeks?
So I'm originally from Tyrone, from Omagh, and I wanted to come back and do a bit of exploring of Ireland, and my plan was to do 32 counties, and I've set the highest point in each county, so we're going to do a high point today, and I've used it as checkpoints to kind of been cycling in and out of all the counties. I have no idea what number we're on. Number 20 something probably.
Is this your last one?
No. I've got more to go.
You will do.
But I'm taking a break and then coming back and do the last ones in the summer. Yeah.
So you'll have done 1,000 miles in total once you're 1,000 kilometers in total once you're finished, or?
I totaled it up for somebody the other day, and I've now done 2,800. Yeah.
Wow.
The whole thing's like 3-2. So I've done a good bit of it. What's that? 70% maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
So by the time you're done, you'll have done 3,000
3,500 or something.
kilometers.
Yeah, kilometers, not miles.
I think what we'll do is we'll go get Trostan done, and then I've got about at least 20 questions that people have submitted, really want to ask you, and we'll annoy you with those questions on the way back, and we will definitely be trying to get a little bit of a tour of your bike. Is that a plan?
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes forget what day of the week it is, but that is a valid consideration when you're camping. Is it a Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, because you go to a spot that's quiet midweek, and
yeah.
Well, you end up hiding in a tree because there's weird going-ons.
That was a Sunday.
That was a Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, we're not going down there, are we?
We are going that way.
Okay, cool. It's beautiful through here. There. Until
Trostan. So you've got incredibly lucky. Trostan is normally absolutely miserable.
I've heard it's like this all the time. I bring the sunshine with me.
Yeah. And now we're going to go back down and ask you all of the questions.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Got my thinking cap on. That's a bit of a long story. My first trip I did was back actually 2015, so quite a while ago. And I had a trip to Amsterdam. All my friends were going to Amsterdam and I couldn't afford the flight, so I bought a really cheap bike off Gumtree. And
how much did you spend on the bike?
50 quid.
50? I thought I was bad. My first bike that I ever bikepacked was 70 quid off Gumtree.
Yeah, well,
£50.
Well, it was 2015, so it's probably gone on inflation. It wasn't. All I knew about bikes were skinny tires went faster than. Then had less resistance than fat tires, so I just bought the bike with the skinniest tires.
Was it a road bike, actual road bike?
It was, like a 1980s road bike that didn't have any gears, like a down tube gears, but they didn't work.
Down tube shifters, where you try to shift them and you hit incoming traffic because you can't see what you're doing.
Yeah. But we made it out there. I was working in like a Mexican restaurant at the time. And I convinced one of the girls who wanted to see Europe to come with me. And then some of my friends lent me the kit that I live with. Yeah. And made it to Amsterdam. And then I was like, that's pretty cool. never cycled more than 5 kilometers before, and I've cycled across 3 countries.
On your first attempt.
Yeah, so it kind of opened a different perspective of you can go wherever you want on a bike. And that's that's where it started.
Did you not find that, did you not get like totally fatigued really quickly, or did you just like take your time and pace it?
Oh no, we took our time, like with that trip, you mean?
Yeah. Because I think there's an assumption made that you can't go and bike pack, and this is the assumption I made this year.
Yeah.
I can't go and bike pack unless I've got a certain level of bike fitness.
Maybe that's true to some people that are wiser than me, that maybe want to train for those kind of things.
Well, I'm glad you've said that I'm wiser than you, so okay.
No, the only time I had the time cycled in my life was like to and from university or to and from work.
Yeah.
But I mean, we weren't doing big miles. I think we were maybe doing like 60, 70, 80 kilometers a day and taking all day to do it.
Yeah. Still a lot if someone's never cycled before.
And it was flat, like
Flat.
it's great.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Would
okay.
recommend going out to Amsterdam. The cycleways are brilliant and it's flat.
Yeah.
But no,
So that was the first trip.
that was the first trip.
So
Yeah.
what are you doing when you're not spending 6 weeks off bike packing?
So I've just finished semi-finished a PhD. Sorry, I'm avoiding the mud.
That's all right. You're on a wireless mic, so you can go as far away as you want.
Yeah. And I'm starting a new, so the 6 weeks off was basically between 2 jobs. So the first job being this PhD that I have to write up, and the second job being a guide for a company that I'm starting on Sunday, soon.
A guide?
Yeah, so taking people cycling and hiking.
Class.
Predominantly, it's an American company, so they're predominantly American clients.
So you can do that the rest of the year, or?
Yeah, and it's seasonal. So this is my 30-year-old gap year. I was saying to you earlier. So I'm doing this trip, which I'd hope the job's quite intense. So it's generally 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So I'm hoping to do. I've got 2 little legs left. So one is a Belfast loop in the morns, and then out by Carlingford, and there's another one. They're all quite close together.
Yeah.
And then the other one is to do, I'll finish off I'll do Dublin to Rosslare as a last leg. But each of those, they're going to be shorter trips. So I'm hoping to do them over the summer around the job.
Yeah. So your professional qualification then is zoology?
Yes.
That's right. So
yes.
I have a question
Okay.
about zoology.
Okay.
What is the actual point of wasps?
Wasps?
And can we get rid of them, please?
Well, the wasps you and I know are the social wasps. There's only one
They're not very social.
There's only
Antisocial
one
wasps.
species of social wasps, which are the ones that will go into your Fanta. But then you also have...
Is that why they're called social wasps? Because they want to spend time with you?
Yeah, because they just want to be your friend.
Is it? Are you serious?
The point of them is that they're very good... They're...
Oh,
Did you do that for the camera?
no. I was hoping you were going to be the one that would go into... So yeah, the point of wasps. I'm going to look where I'm going now.
They're pollinators, but you have a load of species that are solitary wasps, you call them, and they actually, some of them will like eat spiders. So if you don't like spiders, spider v wasp.
So if you've got spiders in your house, open up the windows and leave out a Fanta.
Yeah.
And the wasps will come in and eat the spiders.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
What are the point of wasps? I'd ask more the question of what are the point of midges, because there's a thing that'd been annoying me.
What are the point of midges?
They're food source for other animals, and they like to
What eats midges?
Birds.
I'm actually raging. I'm the one that stuck my foot in the mud.
It's all content.
Now here's a topic I know you're enthusiastic about.
Okay.
What's so cool about leopard sharks?
Oh, you did your research.
Yeah, I did my research.
Okay, I can list you lots of cool things about leopard sharks. One, they have a spot pattern. So I did my master's degree on leopard sharks. Their spot pattern's unique to every individual, like a fingerprint. So I'd be saying, if I went scuba diving, I saw the same shark, and I'd be like, oh, hello Leo, what's the crack?
Was there actually, Leo?
And the other thing that's cool about them, one, they're parthenogenic, which means...
I've seen Jurassic Park, I know what it means.
Okay, what does it mean?
It means they can essentially conceive by themselves.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, my A-level biology has not gone... I don't think you learned, you definitely didn't learn that in A-level
They more or
biology.
less clone themselves.
That's cool.
And I was looking at...
Does this mean you end up with 2 Leos?
Well, no, because it would be the woman. So it would be Leandra.
Okay, Leandra.
Um,
Leandra the shark.
yeah.
This will be a bit bikepacking in a minute, I promise.
I was looking at where they were moving to and from and stuff, and the interesting thing is most species are, the males are the travellers and the females will stay at home or like stay in one area, have a homing range. In actual leopard sharks, I relate to them because the females, because they can, are the ones that discover new lands, and the males stay at home in the one area because it's more advantageous, because they can go to a new place, clone themselves and colonise it or repopulate it.
I'll admit leopard sharks are
Science.
are interesting. Right, we should probably get on to
Yep.
we should probably get on to bikepacking. How on earth do you go about planning a 3,200 Oh great, I've done the other foot now.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you have more things to keep an eye on than me.
How do you go about planning a 3,200 kilometre bikepacking trip? Do you plan the entire thing at once? Do you break it up in stages, or just kind of how much of it do you make up as you go along?
It was all curiosity. So I actually went to a friend's house. They had that 32 peaks book.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wonder, could you cycle that? And there's, when you see them all on the map, you think, I wonder what would be the best route to cycle that. So you
wanted to do the 32 peaks and the 32 counties first?
Yeah, well,
That was where...
well, I really like the multi-sport aspect of hiking and cycling. And I just thought that would be really cool, but it would be cooler if I wanted to do both. I wanted to explore Ireland by bike, and that kind of gave me a purpose and a direction in how to do it. Anyway, to answer your question, I first of all just put a really rough route together of what direction would you do it in. So I wanted to do it, what way is that, clockwise, because up the west coast then you get the prevailing wind direction. And I wanted to start it from Rosslare because that's nearest to where I live.
Yeah.
And I just was curious to see how far it would be, and then from there I broke it down into legs. So the first leg, for instance, was Rosslare to Cork, and I just broke it down into smaller sections that are a bit more detailed. I didn't go into day by day kind of detail, but I was looking in particular for off-road bits, avoiding main roads, more like the wee boreens, so the old...
So trying to do really, really quiet roads and as much trail as possible.
Super quiet roads, and then also some of the waymarked trails in Ireland. You can... A lot of them are on fire roads and actual roads, real quiet roads. So, and some of them are on single track, but you can access them, and I've got a gravel bike, so it's ideal for that. So I was exploring some of the waymarked trails that would be traditionally for walking on the bike. Trying to incorporate those as much as possible. Yeah, it's great because it gives you, the high points give me a direction in which I had to aim. And then I just wiggled in and out of points of interest between that.
What's been the worst high point, the worst summit you've been on?
Oh, I told you this earlier and I've forgotten the name. No, Sleevebeg, that was it, Sleevebeg East. Which is Monaghan's highest point. Yeah. And I don't really like to poop on anyone, but it did rain the whole time, which might have had something to do with it. It's very, very wet. I think I just had wet shoes and I just didn't want to be wet anymore.
So, yeah, that's the question I had, because obviously you've been out for weeks. Do you have a pair of wet socks and a pair of dry socks?
That's my luxury item. If you're going to ask me that later, my luxury item is the number of socks I have. So everything else I have, everything I've brought has to have more than one purpose normally, or I'm like literally wearing it all the time. But socks are the things that like So
you don't skimp on socks?
No, I've got 4 pairs of socks.
4 pairs? Okay.
I know, it sounds extreme, doesn't it?
I just thought you get away with 3, because you could have 2 that are kind of dry and then a wet pair.
Well, yeah, I know, I could get away with 3, but I just thought I'd have the extra pair just to double in case.
Okay. Well, that's answered the question later, which was what was going to be, what is your luxury item?
A 4th pair of socks.
4th pair of socks.
Yeah.
It's not a backpacking chair.
3 is a minimum, I think.
Okay. So why did you, because you've done previous adventures with friends, why did you decide to do this solo? Was it a logistical thing, or is it just you want to do like a personal challenge?
I guess a little bit, like, you know, I've had a window of time between jobs and trying to get somebody else who would, you know, have that time as well, I guess is a logistical thing. But in honesty, like, I have some really, really good friends that I go bikepacking with, and they're amazing. But you end up relying on them both for just decision making, like an emotional support, like you keep each other balanced. So when you're up, they're down. When they're down, you're up, and you help each other out. And I think I wanted to put my own skills and mentality to the test of, can I just be my own crutch? Can I make those decisions? Can I, you know, be self-sufficient enough to do that by myself? Yeah,
there's something quite nice about doing stuff your own. Have you found, do you go at a different pace when you're on your own?
I love it so much.
Yeah, that's what I've always liked. I know when I'm with other people, I always feel slightly under pressure.
Yeah.
But
I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. I just love my own company.
Do you talk to yourself?
No, but I sing to myself a lot.
Sing to yourself, yeah.
I probably do talk to myself, yeah. I chat away to things.
Yes, animals, farm animals.
Farm animals. Sometimes I talk to my bike like it's a thing, but it's not.
I don't talk to the bike, I'll talk to sheep and things, but not the bike.
Yeah, I do chat away to sheep, but they are personalities.
Yeah, I mean, you have been doing it solo, but I've seen you've encountered quite a lot of people along the way, and you've been trying to do hikes with various people. What's that been like? Has that been sort of nice to be able to, I don't know, spend time with someone that you can then walk away from?
I think for me, part of the curiosity of coming back to Ireland was I'd never seen Ireland through this lens of like hiking and cycling growing up here. So I wanted to see that, but I also wanted to see like what kind of communities exist out there. And I think meeting people has given me an eye to that. So it's very connected, you know, like people know people, and sorry, I thought I was going to get hit in the face by a stick there. So I think like that's been super interesting, but it is like, I really, sometimes I'm like, oh, it'd be lovely to have somebody else here to experience this with me. Yeah. And I find hiking is really, really nice to have people with you, because hiking's such a sociable thing where we're walking at the same pace and you can have a good chat. And then now I'll be on the bike for the next few hours and I'll just probably be mulling over what we've talked about in my own little head. It's quite nice. Cycling, when you're off road, you can be social. When you're on the road, you're thinking about the car, so you're less social. Yeah.
I suppose if you're on trails, you're not panicking.
No, it's great. That's why I love the off-road stuff so much.
Yeah. I find that I sometimes treat the camera sort of becomes my friend.
Yeah.
That's what, because I find, it's almost if I hike on my own, I feel a bit, not lonely, but it's almost like I can bring out this friend. Yeah. Because there are people behind there. They're not, there's nobody there right now.
No, but it's a way of you processing.
There are people there. Look, you can see them. There are people
little tiny people inside the camera.
Digital internet people watching. Yeah. It's almost like you've got a camera as future friends.
That's a nice way to think about it.
Oh dear, I just walked through a bog.
Yeah, you
Or
did.
future enemies, judging by some of the comments you sometimes get. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, something special about solo. So on the solo topic, because you're camping as you go along. How do you feel solo camping? I mean, the first time you did it, were you scared? How does that compare to now?
Surprisingly, so I put up a post there saying like the first night I solo camped for this trip, I woke up in the middle of the night and I could hear like a thud thud, and I was like, oh my god, someone's outside my tent. And I was like, they're going to steal my bike. Should I stay hidden in my tent? Should I go out? And then I heard like another like louder like thud thud, and it was faster, and I was like, shit, they're definitely closer, like they're going to kill me, I'm gone. And then I listened a third time and I was like, oh, that's just my own heartbeat. Like, I'm literally listening, thinking it's footsteps, but it's just my own heart.
Yeah,
And,
it's a shame you weren't somebody sort of interested in sort of sciencey stuff. You need to figure that out quicker.
It was 4 a.m. in the morning, you know.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how quick you can go from, like I think when the first week maybe, you know, you're all a bit on high alert the whole time. And then afterwards, you just get used to it.
You stop caring?
Yeah, your body just acclimatizes, and I've definitely acclimatized to like, now, like if I sleep inside somebody's house, I'll wake up sweating like I'll be too hot because I'm acclimatized to sleeping outside.
Being cooler?
Yeah, and it's just lovely. Like it's really, for me, it definitely 100% feel way more comfortable with it, which is fantastic. Like doesn't stress me out at all really that much anymore. And it's just nice. Like the other morning, I woke up and I was having my porridge and I looked out and there was an otter like feeding, and I was like, that's pretty cool. You don't see that from your bedroom window. You don't often see.
Were you beside a river?
Yeah, I was beside a river, like a estuary inlet kind of area. Yeah. And it was there like chomping a fish, and then it went down again and got another, like it was a fish or like a clam or something. But yeah. So I was like, you don't get that from.
That's quite special.
Sitting inside, and you don't. Like, you know, you toss and turn sometimes, and you're like, is it morning yet? Yeah. And I listen, I'm like, if I can hear the birds, I know it's morning. And if I can't hear the birds, it's not morning.
Do you use an eye mask?
Yes.
Because that's transformed camping for me in the summer.
100%.
Because I never used to, and I'd be awake from like 3:30.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Always use an eye mask, and I have earplugs as well.
Yeah, same. Yeah. What about food? What do you eat? Do you eat? You know, as you go? Do you stop and?
So.
What do you carry?
I think this is what I need to work on. My next thing is how to diversify camp meals, because what I find really nice. I'm not normally a big breakfast person, but I don't often bring a stove on weekend adventures. I have porridge every morning, warm porridge, and like something warm in the evening. Yeah. Normally like those are like mug pastas or noodles or something. But it's been 6 weeks now, and if I see another packet of noodles, I'm gonna like I've had it. I can't have any more noodles. So I'm trying to think.
Have you had much real food as you went along, or has that mostly been?
Oh, I've been super lucky. So before I left, I had 2 places where I knew I could stay, like friends. And then it's been pretty magic because they've then put me in touch with their friends, and then their friends have put me in touch, and they've just looked after me down the road. So I've ended up now, I think like every third night I stay somewhere to charge my stuff. Yeah. Or like if it's horrific rain, I've also been lucky and like had a bailout option. Sometimes it's night, I want to camp, I'm carrying my tent around, I want to use it. But it's nice to have a bailout option when the weather's real shit. And fortunately, like that means that I can actually either cook proper stuff myself, or quite often people are like, I'll make you an extra portion, I'm making food already, which is a luxury. So I do have that as well.
Here's a problem I have when I start cycling and haven't been out in a while. Even at the minute, if I do any more than about 2 hours, I get quite saddle sore. Is that just something you have to train through? Have you got like secret shorts or something?
No, it's a saddle, I think. So I think something that's really, like especially women, like woman specific saddles. So much, a lot of bikes when you buy them,
Yeah.
they'll come with a men's saddle
Ah, okay.
because that's like standard.
Yeah.
And then like women are riding them and then they're like, this is so uncomfortable. And that's because you're riding on a man's saddle. Like it's not the same. It's completely uncomfortable. So I think like that would be my one thing, is to go and
Upgrade your saddle.
upgrade your saddle and get something that actually like works for you. There's not like one specific, just like whatever works for you. And it's the same with, you know, with guys. It's like trying
Yeah.
to find like a non-aggressive saddle that works for you, and everyone
Yeah.
will have their own opinion.
I changed the saddle because I changed the stock saddle that came on my bike recently and realised, hold on, this is so much more comfortable now.
Yeah, and a good pair of shorts as well. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I've brought 2 pairs of, because they say if you they advise you to bring 2 pairs of different brands,
Yeah.
because the sewing and the stitching
it'll
and
be
the
different.
lining will be different because they make them differently.
So you can irritate a different part of your...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'll wear like the same for 2 days and then
That's
change
quite
for,
clever, because my
you
gut
know.
is always, if I find something I like, I buy 2 of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's a terrible idea. That's cool. I've already asked that question. Oh, yeah, I think I know the answer to this one. Do you do many routes where you end up having to connect parts of trail by dragging your bike through terrible places?
Yes, you've seen my Instagram. Yeah, but I quite like it, to be honest. Like, I get bored of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on some fantastic, like through, like Athlone, they've built this cycleway that's traffic free along the old railway. Beautiful.
I'm gonna have to get a list of your like favourite sections, because
Yeah.
I've really not cycled that much
Oh, it's stunning, but
well, anywhere really.
after a while I'm like, oh, this is too easy and boring. Like, I want a
Okay.
bit of like shred.
Yes.
I want a bit, and
So basically,
I want a bit of
once you've
adventure.
relaxed and you've got a bit of
Yeah.
energy built up,
Yeah.
let's go spend it on some trail.
And often that exploration of, is this a trail, is this not a trail, leads to me pushing my bike through
Yeah.
places it shouldn't be going, or is a bit beyond our capabilities / bog. There's a lot of bog in Ireland.
Yes. Oh yeah, there is. Have you not found yourself on occasion in the middle of a bog, sort of cursing your decision you made 2 hours ago? Or do you just generally, let's just go with it?
No, there's a sadistic part of me that loves it. I think a lot of people would do that, and it's probably not like a route that I'd advise other people to go on.
Yes. But you know, you can sort of...
I like the mental challenge. I like putting myself in really uncomfortable...
You like the misery?
I do. I think there's a bit of my brain that's a bit not okay. I like the part where you're like, this is really shit and I've got to stay positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like putting
That's
myself...
when you start singing to yourself.
Well, yeah, generally.
This way.
I try to see the humour in it.
Yes. Oh, I think you
that's
have
the best way to go through.
Yeah. Well, I find sometimes what worked for me was when I had the camera, even if I was hating it, I knew that somebody on the other side of the camera was going to love the misery.
Yeah.
So it kind of, yeah, I know what you mean. It had this weird, I found a weird humour in my own misery.
And I think sometimes it's acknowledging it, right? Like, I have my friend I go bikepacking a lot with will be sarcastic, and it'll maybe be raining all day, and you'll be like, well, this is fun, you know? And it's obviously shit, but like, the more you're sarcastic about it and the more you acknowledge that actually, like, I don't know, and the more you do it as well, you realise that, okay, it's going to be shit, but it's not going to be shit forever. Like, it's going to be shit for an hour or two, and then you'll be grand.
Yeah.
You know, it's not...
Yeah, you have to come out the other side eventually.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, oh, cool, that was a fun story to tell.
Right, next question. Just realised we're going for half an hour. I'm going to upload this entire video. See what happens. Your shelter of choice then, because I see a lot of bike packers, they go ultralight with a tarp just trailed off the back of the bike and a bivvy.
Yeah.
What's your preference?
So I used a bivvy, a hooped bivvy. And I would have used that for weekend adventures, super light. Yeah, it's brilliant. But for this, like, I just wanted an area of space where I could put all my crap. Like the bivvies are literally like a sleeping bag. I find them like it's like a human-sized condom. They're not great, and they're like slimy.
It's a horrible description of a bivvy.
Yeah, I'm not really selling them, but they're very lightweight and they're very compact, and for a couple of nights sleep, they're fine. Anything more, it's a bit too rough in it for me. I don't think I could have done 6 weeks in a bivvy. It's nice to just have your space where you can sit up and be enclosed. And then I'm like, this is my bedroom, this is my home. I'm like a little, tortoise carrying my house everywhere. Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, well, it keeps the midges out as well.
Yeah.
Vaguely personal question, how often do you actually get a proper shower?
Oh, it depends,
I mean,
really.
having been van camping where I've spent a week in a van and with not many showers in between.
I think the real question, so quite often
Or just jump in a river.
I have that. So I say a shower maybe like 4 days. It's really quite good. The main thing is the clothes. So I'm clean.
Yes.
But my clothes are not. So like I said, everything has 2 uses. So this t-shirt that I'm wearing now is a t-shirt I slept in, and it's the t-shirt I'll walk in, hike in.
So it's a good job we're outside and there's a breeze blowing.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it was, I can stop at someone's house, but unless they have a washer and a dryer, I don't have time to do both.
So have you not ever found yourself cycling along with half your clothes trailing out the back tied onto the bike, trying to dry them out?
Yeah, but that's mostly my socks just from it raining. But yeah, no, I could have, like, I think the longest, it was like 2.5 weeks I didn't get a wash in my clothes. I was like hand washing like my bibs and stuff and my socks, but it's not the same as, you smell.
Well, when you can smell yourself while you're cycling at 20 miles?
It's whenever you walk near somebody and they smell clean and you're like, I don't smell like that. I know I don't smell like that, and it's the contrast. Or when the wind changes, not great.
Glamorous life. Okay, I suppose on that topic, with all these difficulties and smelliness, what keeps you bikepacking?
That's a very good question, because I think I can't answer it without being really corny.
Corniness is fine.
I think one of my main concerns was, actually, I'm really glad that I'm going to this next job where I'm being active and outdoors again, because the euphoric highs you get like more or less on a daily basis is quite addictive for your brain. Like you'll just come around, you'll be like, whoa, that's effing sick. You'll be like, that's amazing.
It's the dopamine hits.
The view is so much, and every single day you're just getting like this buzz of adrenaline, and then you're meeting some really cool, interesting people, and you get to hear their stories, and you get to connect with people, and you get to see different people's lives. It's just a really amazing way of seeing a place, and what better place to see than Ireland. So I think for me the main concern was, like, within the first week I was like, I would struggle to like do that every day for 6 weeks, because it becomes part of your life and you become adapted to it. To then
you never got bored?
No.
So it's just always new things.
Yeah, I actually found it. What I missed was like a processing speed, because you're always taking in new things that you. What I missed is the ability to sit still and like process all the new things and the people and everything. Yeah. No, I didn't really get bored. Sometimes I will put an audiobook on, and that kind of like, then you're listening to somebody else's story for a bit. But I quite like my own company.
So you wouldn't listen to music that much?
I do. Oh, and somebody sent me, my friend who does ultra endurance races, sent me the most amazing playlist. And you get bored of your own music and then listen to his, and I just be singing along the whole time. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Here's a question about kit.
Okay.
Any essentials that you have that you think wouldn't be obvious to most people, or that you didn't realise you needed until you've been doing this a while?
Well, the sleeping mask one is a good thing. That's like a very small essential. And then the other thing that I found personally helpful for this is I have on my, this is very geeky, specky, but so normal bike wheels now are 700C, which is the size of them.
Yeah.
And I, on this bike, not just came with it, but 650C, which is a smaller wheel size. But it's been amazing because I have a small bike frame size, and the issue with the smaller bike frames that a lot of women have is that they're too small to fit the bikepacking bags on.
Okay.
So 700C, a bigger wheel, would mean that the front bikepacking bag would rub off the wheel, or you wouldn't have as much freedom and space.
Just slightly smaller wheels.
So slightly smaller wheels means that also it's like less effort for the rotation because I'm a smaller person, and it gives me that extra bit of freedom of where I can fit my bags, which is like, that's been a realisation of this trip, is actually that's something that's quite unusual bike setup, but really worked for me and I'd use in the future.
Have you had any sort of kick yourself moments where you've done something really daft and it's ruined your night or ruined your day? Like mistakes?
I was really annoyed at myself the other day because I stayed at the top of, I think it's called Glenveigh. Would that be just north of Limavady?
Might be.
Yeah, anyway, there's somebody will correct you in the right place, but there's a big mountain, and on the top of the mountain
there's Benevena.
Maybe,
up above Limavady.
Yeah, right, yeah, and it's got the big lake at the top.
Yeah, it's Benevena.
Yeah, Benevena? Okay, anyway, I was like, camped at the top of there in the evening, and I thought I'll follow this, like the single track down, so this little path on the edge down.
Yeah.
And I was so sleep deprived, and I ended up going down the wrong side of the mountain. I had to go east, and I ended up going down west, and I didn't want to go on the real busy road, so it meant I had to go back up over the hill to go back the far side. And I've been trying to get to finish off to get to this ferry on time, and the day before I'd pushed on, I'd made great progress, and I basically undid all the progress by going the wrong side of the hill. So that was like the one day I was super frustrated at myself for like not making the right decision, or like just not paying close enough attention to where I was going. Yeah, other than that.
Have you had any moments that have been like, I don't know, like really scary? Maybe not that camping moment, but when you've been out on the bike, like have you experienced bad traffic or bad drivers, or has it generally been?
I think for me the main priority, so I get a lot of people asking me about how I feel as a solo woman bike, like camping, that element of it, but the time I feel most vulnerable is actually on the roads. Way more, like the chances of someone murdering me in a tent are a lot lower than someone. I always tell
people this,
So there was one bit, mostly I'm trying to stick to those old boring roads, like I said, you know, with the grass in the middle, like tiny roads that are indirect, but they're super fun.
Yeah.
And coming into Limerick, the route I had to go on the main road, and there was no hard shoulder, and you're just getting passed by like loads of big old lorries, and every time you're like, oh, like please pass me a space. That was like the day, like I just wanted that day to be over. Like I just wanted to be off that road and not be, because I felt so,
this isn't fun anymore.
Yes, and that wasn't fun. And I can understand why people don't like cycling if that's their experience of it.
Yeah. I've got one last question before we have a look at your bike and your setup.
Okay.
And it is, tell me briefly about your world record.
Oh, right. So there is
a video of this. I'll link the video in case you want more detail.
You don't have to. So two of my friends I used to bike pack a lot with, and we were like 28, 29. We're like, oh, I'd love to do, we're up in Scotland, we're like, I'd love to do the 3 peaks of England, Scotland, Wales. And then it was 2020, like we were like, I thought we'd raise some money for like some charities that were affected for COVID and stuff, and we thought, why don't we just do it as a charity thing, and we'll cycle between the peaks. So you've got Snowdon, Wales, Scarfield Pike, England, and then Ben Nevis, which is the biggest one, Scotland. And we thought, well, there's 3 mountains, there's 3 of us. Why don't we do it in 3 days? It sounds good. And we had no real concept of what that meant. And my friend posted on this forum saying, we're thinking of doing this. and somebody, has anyone done it, like any routes or advice? And someone wrote back to her saying, you know, if you do that in 3 days, you'll break the Guinness record, the world record for it. And so she was like, sweet, let's do it then, let's crack on. So yeah, I don't know that like we'd do this kind of stuff for fun, like just for messing around. And then the first day, so we had to climb Snowdon. We did south to north because the wind.
Yeah.
And we climbed Snowdon and we cycled 200 kilometres.
The first day?
When we got to 200 kilometre mark and we were like, this is the furthest we've ever cycled, ever. And we had to do, each day we were doing a mountain, and about 270 kilometres was the average. So we had another 70k to go, but it was only at that point when we had cycled the furthest we'd ever cycled, we were like, oh, we've only got 70, we could actually do this. Like, it was so out of our concept of what was possible.
So you hadn't even tried this before, you just went for it?
Yeah, yes, there's a running theme. You don't know what you can't do until you try.
Yeah, and it wound up, you finished it in, what was it then?
63, so the record before was 80 something hours, and we did it in 68. So we broke the record.
Smashed the record?
By like, we did, yeah. And I think like going back to it now, you're like, oh, we wasted a bit of time here, you know, you could, but I love this. This is, I really loved the, what I felt sad about that, on a tangent, is we had a load of friends come and join us for the hikes. We didn't have anyone join for the cycling because of drafting, but the hikes, we had a load of friends come and join us, Scarfell, and we came down to the bottom and they'd made us food and teas and cakes, and they were like, woo, the people that didn't join, and we were like, oh, sorry, I've got to go. Like,
grab
and it felt
a bit
so
of cake
bad.
and leave.
Like, this is this pace where you actually get there's obviously you've got a goal or a target, but you can still, there's flexibility there where you can actually interact and meet people and change things, and it's more my vibe, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're back down again. Let's go and take a look at your bike. Okay, Pottie, tell me about your bike.
Okay.
And how come you're managing to bikepack with so little equipment?
Okay.
Tell me about the bike, and then you quickly tell me about where.
So this is a Ribble ALE gravel bike. AL stands for aluminium, and it's an e-bike. I won't go into it too much, but I have a nerve injury that it really helps me with. So the motor's here in the back wheel, and then the power's here. So you've just been charged in your van, so it just plugs into there, into any kind of
battery in here?
The battery's actually, just in here. The bottom bit. Yeah. So you can access it here, but you're not really meant to. It's pretty good. Like I said earlier, so I don't know how specky you want to go. I'd say bikepacking thing.
How many gears has it got?
Yeah, well, that was it. Like, if you want to go bikepacking, what I'd say is have like lots of granny gears. That would be my advice. And it's a gravel bike, so it means that I can go basically anywhere.
That's good for climbing. I have noticed you have what look like slicks, even though you're going up, but they're massive.
Well, so this, I have not changed very much. This is what the bike came with, and I just stuck to it. These are huge fat tires, but they're slicks. And I think if I was to choose a tire choice, I'd choose something with more grip. Okay. But it's not been very wet here, actually. It's been pretty dry.
So those have done the job.
And those have done the job. And I'm on the roads. They're fast moving tires, so even though they're fat, they move quite fast. They've been perfect. They've been actually ideal. It's just like back home I'd be doing a bit more muddy stuff, so I'd want a bit more grip. But for 90% of what I've done, it's been fab. Yeah.
And what way is your kit spread out? Because as I said earlier, I carried what looked like twice as much kit as this for a one-night camp, and you've been out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What all have you got from sort of front to back, roughly?
So in here, so this is my tent. It's a one-man tent. Everyone asks me what it is. It's a Big Agnes spur. It's actually specifically a bikepacking tent, but they've got some things that they sell it as a bikepacking tent. But really the only main difference is the fact that it comes in this little thing that you can attach on a bikepacking bag, and it's got shorter poles, so you can fit them between your handlebars. And then in here I have my sleeping bag, which is a 3-season sleeping bag, and then a blow-up mat proper thing. And what it means is it's dead handy, because if I want to sleep, I just take all of my sleeping gears in one pile. It does make it front heavy, but because it's an e-bike, it's
rear heavy anyway.
Rear heavy, so it actually balances completely it out. But on a normal bike, it would be too heavy on the steering. And then all my spare clothes are in the back. And then I've just got rain jackets and stuff that are easy to access.
Socks.
My socks are drying, they're drying. The other thing, I've got this middle bag, but normally you'd keep your water here.
Yeah.
But I struggle like with the size, the frame and
you don't
everything.
get past it.
I can't get out, so I've put them up the front, which is grand. I'm still working on where the perfect place is for them, to be honest. And then just in here is oats, porridge oats, bit of extra
That's
food.
just packed solid with oats.
Well, this one's not very big, so that's this is shampoo and conditioner bars, which are environmentally friendly, these ones, and very compact, not heavy, and some extra tent poles. And in this one, oh, there's just crap. There's a pump, some food. This is a battery pack.
All right.
Because I've got the other place I have to keep stuff is my backpack.
Yeah.
But ideally, what I want to try and do is avoid any kind of weight on my back. So in here, I have my stove, which I just can't fit very well in other bags. And then I've got another small little dry bag that has the charger for this and a couple of electric leads, because when I go into a shop and I want to charge my stuff, I just
want to have it.
It's all there. And then I have like a day's, so a packet of noodles and a bread roll and some cheese. That's what's in my bag.
Can't forget the cheese.
No, well, it's got to be good, you know. Cheese rolls I survived off for a long time. Oh, and this bag, which is actually, I think, my favourite and the most important. So this is Koala Kit. My friend actually started it as a, during lockdown, as a little sideline project. So
snack bag?
They're just a little snack bag. That's my favourite bag because I just munch away. But yeah, you get to choose little colours you want. I went for 90s colours because that's my vibe. And yeah, best addition to the bike.
Have you any idea what weight the whole setup is?
No. The bike itself is 14 kg.
You look like you got about
I reckon maybe
kilos a kit.
Nah, I think lighter.
Lighter.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Someone will ask. There's always somebody wants to know. I've asked the question.
The tent is 1.2.
Yeah.
That's going to be much the same as the tent.
Yeah.
I think I probably got about 5 kilos on it. Yeah. You want to lift it? You want to see?
Let's see. See what it's like.
You got to lift in the middle now because you've got one hand.
Yeah, that's so much less than what I'm carrying.
And I've got both bottles of water on there. So that's what 1.5 of each two.
I need to rethink some of my problem is I'm bringing about 3 kilos of camera stuff.
That's a big yeah.
Which doesn't help. Okay.
Yeah.
This has been brilliant. I thought we were just going to talk about bikepacking, but we talked about all kinds of other stuff. Where are you off to next?
So my aim tonight is to make it to the ferry. So there's an 11 o'clock ferry from Belfast. So I've finished like a good bit of my loop. I start this job, then I'm going to do the last 2 little bits. You should come join me for the next bit. So I'm going to do a proper bikepacking loop. I think from Belfast I'll go in and then probably out of Belfast, and then I'll do another loop between work from Dublin to Rosslare. So I'd love to have people actually join me for those. I think that would be super fun.
I might be able to rustle up a few people.
Yeah. I think it would be really cool. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Okay, get Colin. Colin was supposed to be here. Colin, you know who you are. Where should people go if they want to find out what you're doing? Your Instagram, your website?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Instagram's my main active place. The website's probably not been updated in years. I'm impressed you find it. So it's Going Pottie, which is easy to remember. Yeah. Double IE though at the end. That's what I'm most I try to keep updated most. Yeah.
All right, well, great to meet you. Great to have a hike. And if people are still watching at this point, they're nearly an hour in.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for watching. and maybe we'll catch you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.
Ciao for now.